This is your favorite time of the week with your number one podcast.
Hear my true story.
Yes, my dear viewers and my dear listeners, welcome back to Hear My True Story podcast. Yes, I'm happy for those who are watching this wonderful YouTube channel, and I'm also happy for those who are really listening to this wonderful podcast, Hear My True Story. Well, my dear listeners and my dear viewers, I know you have been following the previous episodes where I've been talking about the German daycare models. So, well, today I want to conclude with the German daycare model, which is called the Integrative Kindergarten. Well, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So, my dear listeners, it is interesting that Germany has a lot of models of daycare centers, but on this YouTube channel, I decided to share various models for people to understand and also for people to know what daycare model can I bring my child. Mainly this series, I'm targeting the people who are moving to Germany, families that are coming to Germany and they are really stranded. They don't know which is the best daycare model for my kid. Where should I take my child when I reach to Germany? Which daycare center is the best for my child? Which daycare center can support the development of my child? Well, you are on the right YouTube channel, or maybe you are listening to the right podcast, Hear My True Story, where we share personal stories based on personal experiences. Anyway, without wasting your time, I want to talk about integrative daycare centers in Germany. I want to talk about this model. So this model brings kids with special abilities and those without special abilities together. So these kindergartens or these integrative kindergartens focus on integrative inclusion of all kids. No kid should be left behind because of their special ability. So all kids are brought together and they learn together and they get to understand that any special ability is not a challenge for any kid to be left behind or to be left out, but it is valuable. Everyone is valuable in that society, regardless of their special abilities. So, as I start, I'm sure there are people who are wondering, what is an integrative kindergarten? Well, sometimes here in Germany, they call them e-Kitas or e-kindergartens. So it is a place where kids with and without special abilities can learn together. The kids get to understand and also to appreciate that this wonderful world we live in have different people with different special abilities, and they are also valuable in this wonderful society that we live in. So the kids in these kindergartens grow up understanding that regardless of who you are entitled to share, to love, to be together regardless of your special ability. So in these kindergartens, they celebrate special abilities. They foster respect. They foster acceptance. So that kids at a very tender age, kids at a very young age learn to respect, to have tolerance, to accept other people regardless of their special ability. So I am here talking about integrative kindergartens. But maybe there are people who are watching or who are listening and they don't know how do these integrative kindergartens work. How are they designed? So for you to know is that in the integrative kindergartens, kids are divided in different groups, in different diverse groups. Each group can have different kids with different special abilities and those without special abilities. And they are always small groups. So in these small groups, there are always different educators, or call them pre-educators. And each group has a specific trained professional person that is there to support a specific child with a special ability. So that makes the children to have the same chance to learn together, to participate actively with other kids, regardless of their special ability. So in these groups, it's always in small sizes so that all kids have this chance to be taken care of, so their needs are taken care of, so their needs are seen by the educators and also realized by the educators, and they are supported by the educators. That's why they keep these groups in a very small number. So in such kindergartens, you find that the groups are so small, but also with specialized people that can support the kids in these groups that need the special attention. For example, I can give an example that you can find a group of 5 kids or 6 kids where there's 1 to 2 kids with special ability, and each of the kids that have special ability have a special trained professional that can support their development. For example, if the group is doing a physical activity and there's a kid that needs a physical special support to participate in a physical activity, that kid that needs this special ability support would be supported so that they can also equally participate in that physical activity that is done by the group. The rule is that no kid is left behind because of their special ability. All the kids are part of the group, and they should equally participate in the group activities. How beautiful it is. So if you're a family moving to Germany and you would like your kid to participate or to be in such kindergartens, well, there you are. You can decide to choose your kid to be in e-kindergartens or call them integrative kindergartens. So what do kids learn from such kindergartens? The kids in these kindergartens learn empathy, patience, and they learn how to communicate with other kids, regardless of their special ability. They learn that I need to be able to communicate with everyone in the group so that I can understand, or they can understand what I'm talking about, regardless of my special ability, or when I don't have any, I should consider that there are others that need more special attention, that they understand what I'm talking about. I mean, for kids who have special abilities, they'll get to learn that they are included in the society that they are living in. They build friends and also gain confidence that regardless of my special ability, I'm part of a group, I'm part of a community, I'm part of other kids. I'm not left behind, I'm not put aside because of my special ability. I'm included. My needs are appreciated and also respected and also supported, that I get what I need. Because the rule that each kid is supported, each kid's needs are identified and supported, that the kid can develop health-wise, education-wise, and emotional-wise. So it is really important for such kitas to be there in Germany. And another thing that is good for such kindergartens is that they break down stereotypes. These kitas break down stereotypes. They show that special abilities, people with special abilities are part of the society, and special abilities are to be celebrated, but not feared or excluded because of their abilities. It is really important for kids to have this opportunity to be in such daycare centers where they can learn and appreciate other people. So how does a typical day in an integrative kindergarten look like? I'm sure there are viewers or there are listeners who are wondering, how does that daycare center look like? Well, just like any other daycare center, they also have morning routines. Maybe they do morning circles, or maybe they do morning singing, or maybe they do morning circles to greet each other. That happens. And then maybe they also have free play time, so every kid can choose what to play with, whom to play with, and what to do, because it's a free play time. So every kid has the opportunity to experience that free play time. And also during the free play time, the educators put play materials that are adaptable to all the children regardless of their special abilities. So the room is designed that each child can be able to use the material that is in that room, or maybe that each child is able to participate with the different games, or to use the different games in that room regardless of their special abilities. So that's how special that the care center can be. Then there's also what they call specialized support, where each child that needs a special support would be given time one-on-one with their special professional educator or professional teacher to work with them to see that they are able to develop their needs, to be able to support them in their development of their needs. So they get that chance of special attention with their special professional educator or maybe teacher that is working with them. Then they also have lunch time and also rest time, sleeping time. It's generally just like all the other daycare centers. The only difference is that they will have all kids regardless of their special abilities, with or without. They all live together, they work together, they play together, they learn together, they support each other, and they are part of a family. Wow, that's a beautiful experience that anyone would like their kids to experience. However, there are challenges perhaps when you want to choose integrative kindergartens. The first thing is availability. You may be living in a city, or maybe you have moved to a city in Germany where there is less integrative kindergarten. So it will be difficult for you to find an integrative kindergarten. However, nowadays, what other kitas do, they also include this method of integrative kindergarten in their daycare centers. So if you find that you are not finding an integrative kindergarten, look at the concept of the other kindergartens in the place where you live. Do they have that method of kindergarten? That's the method where kids that need special attention and special support are also catered for. Most kindergartens in their concept, they state this and they show that. So you can read through the concept. Maybe you can visit those kindergartens and ask those questions. Perhaps if you can't find an integrative kindergarten, there's another kindergarten can offer that support to your child. The other challenge is the cost. Sometimes these kindergartens can be so expensive. Yeah, the cost can sometimes be high, because in case a group has an integrative concept of kindergarten, that means that they will need a special support for the particular child that requires that special attention, which makes it a bit expensive. For example, if a group has 5 kids and then the 6th child comes with a special ability, that means they will need a special support for that child in the group, a special person that is going to support that child in the daily activities throughout the day in that group. That makes additional costs. So sometimes it can be expensive. That's why you find that some daycare centers cannot afford to have the concept of integrative kindergarten in their concept, or integrative kindergarten in their daycare center, because they cannot afford the costs to cater for that particular support. Another thing that I can say, families should also have a mind of inclusion. If a family feels like, well, I want my child to experience diversity, experience inclusion, experience an inclusive environment, well, then take them to the integrative kindergartens. So, my dear viewers and my dear listeners, as I conclude this wonderful episode, I want to share with you and I tell you that in our various models that we have looked at, we have seen that There are various models of daycare centers in Germany, and you as a parent who has just moved into Germany and you're looking for a daycare center, you can see which one works for you and you can decide. But what I can say for integrative kindergartens, they have the best spaces for children to experience diversity and for children to experience an environment that is inclusive, where they can appreciate, where they can learn patience, where they can develop empathy, where they can support each other regardless of their special ability. So for my dear listeners and for my dear viewers, I want to say thank you for following this series of German daycare centers and German kindergartens models. I'm really happy that you guys have followed and have given me comments on each video that I've shared. Thank you so much for watching this wonderful YouTube channel, Hear My True Story. And for those who are listening to this wonderful podcast, Hear My True Story, thank you so much for listening. And before I say bye, I want to ask you, my dear viewers and my dear listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, you can always subscribe so that you don't miss any coming episode. And for those who are just joining us, this is Hear My True Story podcast, and this is Hear My True Story YouTube channel. And to me, I'm always called Otako, the host of this YouTube channel, Hear My True Story, and also the host of Hear My True Story podcast on any podcasting listening platform. You can listen to Hear My True Story podcast. Well, my dear listeners, I want to say bye for now without wasting your time. Thank you for listening and thank you for supporting Hear My True Story. And I want to say bye for now.